Conversation around this ninth pick has been all over the place, but I don't know if we've had the conversation on here about teams most likely to trade up. Now, we did talk about one team in the Saints that could be interested in trading up. PFF had put that out. Brian Spielberger threw that one out there. And so they're an interesting team, but what teams do we feel could be candidates to trade up for that ninth overall pick? Who do we feel could be the most invested in it?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at this list right now. Of course, we talked about Minnesota having 2 picks in the first round. You got them at 11 and 23. I'm going to be honest with you. If we're talking about trying to get more picks where, you want the Bears to go into the second round and maybe address some other positions of need, maybe defensive tackle or maybe another lineman in the second round, I would try to see what Minnesota is talking about. Maybe get both of those picks, but then maybe if we really want to get additional picks, I would say maybe try to go for 23, the Vikings pick that they got from Cleveland through Houston, and then give them 9 and see how much they can give us back.
Man, interdivision trades though, dog. Like, what if you give them?
I know.
Now, Minnesota's on my list as well, but what if you give them the player that they need? Because they're going after a quarterback, right? At 9,
yeah.
I guess if he gets past the Giants, you're talking J.J. McCarthy, right? And that's I think here's the thing we have to also understand. That's how this all plays up. That's how this all happens. This is about if a quarterback falls. I don't think that there's a receiver or not that there wouldn't be trades for some of these guys, right? Like Dallas Turner, I think if he fell to 9, there'd be a trade for him. I think if there was a wide receiver that fell to 9, there'd be a trade for him. But, you really only have this conversation if somebody that a team feels is franchise altering falls. And so in that situation, unless it's JJ McCarthy, you're kind of like, all right, if it's Dallas Turner, can we let him go? Right. Yeah, I mean, like, if it's Malik Neighbors, can we let him go? Yeah, I mean, like that's what this comes into as well.
That's a good point.
I think more than likely, though, for me, Denver would be the team that sticks out because at any position, they're going to need some help. They need wide receivers. They need edges. They need offensive line talent, right? So I think that there's a bunch of pieces that maybe Denver could try and move up and go get. And maybe they'd be a little bit more willing to trade that draft capital because of they're starting pretty much all over here. They're trying to find some foundational pieces.
I got a team that it's kind of been hinted to us. And again, this is something that this is lion season, as we all have mentioned this, but a team that I thought was interesting just because they have a young QB who we didn't get a whole lot on, but as you know, putting weapons around a young QB is a big thing. They still maintain somewhat of their run game. Their line is decent. But the Colts have an opportunity to potentially trade up simply to get one of the big receivers that may be there. There's 3 receivers that was on their list. I thought this was interesting. Little traction on this was barely mentioned amongst mainstream, in and out. It's not solid, but I thought it was interesting because several drafts have Roma Duze falling to the top out of the top 10 into top 12. The Colts are, I know.
That'd be a dream.
That's great.
He wouldn't get past 9.
He wouldn't get past it. But you got to think about it like this. You got 4 teams that are looking for QBs in the top 10. You got 2 teams that are probably trading out. Potentially 5 teams looking for QBs if you really think about it. The Cardinals are potentially trading back. Maybe we'll see how that works. So like there's a lot of what if this happens, then that type situations. I just thought I was interested that the coach trying to get a receiver for Richardson was like one of those things. I was like, man, no one really talked about that, but it was like hinted towards, and it was just like I could see that potentially.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me because like Michael Pittman's great. I don't know if he's great. Michael Pittman's very, very good. He's very, very good. He's above good. He's very, very good.
Is he blue or green?
But you can do better.
Is he blue or green?
Would you say he's good because he's the number 1 option, or would you say if he's on a team that has an even more talented receiver, would he still be very good?
Michael Pittman, it's because he's the number 1 option.
I don't even know that. I wanted Michael Pittman if he didn't even get franchise tag to come here. but he was going to be the clear-cut number 2. It wouldn't have been 1 and 1A. We have 2 receivers. It's crazy to say. It's Chicago Bears. We have 2 receivers on our team right now who are both better leaps and bounds than Michael Pittman is. So it's not that he's a bad receiver, but I think you do kind of just go, if you're the Colts and you're looking at that, you say, all right, but we know we need the guy, not a guy. And I think he's a guy. He's not just a guy. He's not a Jag, but he's a guy. You know what I mean? He's not a Jag.
He's
not a Jag. How that will work out with the Chicago Bears is because we don't have a second rounder. They do. They have the 46 currently. If this is if nothing has changed, I'm looking at updated as of yesterday. So nothing's changed.
Yeah, no, they that's what they're sitting at right now. I think here's one. Let me throw one at y'all. And me and Joe kind of had this conversation, but I think this was on a Friday. Neither of you guys were on here. Brad Spielberger talked about this for the Saints trading up because they want Olufashanu. Trade up to 9. They take the 75th overall pick. You get back into the second round. You get the 14th overall pick, the 45th overall pick, and the 168th overall pick. So now you're moving into that, would that be 5th? You're already in the 4th round. You'd be moving into that 5th round as well. Would that be a move that you would want to see the Chicago Bears go after? Is that 5th round, 4th round? 168. That feels 5th round.
That feels 5th round.
5 times 32. Yeah.
Look, you're trying to do math right now. That's dangerous.
I'm trying to do math into my head.
Dangerous stuff.
Yeah, 5 times 32. That's the end of the 4th.
End of the 4th round. So end of the 4th round on that.
Yeah.
Let me double
check that deal out.
So what you're saying, Pat, is that we get 14. Would you say 45?
We get 14, we get 45, and then we end up coming away with the 168th overall pick.
Every day of the week, twice on Sunday.
So, yeah, I'm getting Caleb, obviously. 14.
That is, by the way, a 5th round pick, beginning of the 5th round. But if you remember, that's Braxton Jones.
I'm taking that simply because
168 is Braxton Jones 2 years ago.
Yeah. I'm taking that because JPJ is expected to be available around that range. There is a slight chance that Rome Odunze is available around, very, very slight. Don't get me wrong, very, very slight. Because Neighbors is expected to go high. They got people. Some people saying Neighbors may go before MHJ. Whatever. Argue with your mom on that one. But I just know that there's going to be good talent. 2 names that we may want or have already talked about around that. I'll take that risk. Just to pick up 2 extra picks. We don't have we need the picks. We need the picks.
I'm with the idea that I'm gonna go a different route because I wouldn't mind getting JPJ at 14. We talked about this guy.
Apparently, we're all getting killed for liking JPJ.
Yeah,
y'all seeing that on the internet? Like, I'm getting murdered out here. Buzz are like, you love this center, dog. I'm like, yeah, he's a 10-year center. I haven't watched my quarterback be protected since Olin Kreutz left. But go ahead with your
plug and play. Yeah, plug and play. Exactly. No, it makes a lot of sense. But if we don't go that route, we talked about this guy yesterday. I know I mentioned him as a sleeper. He clearly is not. The second receiver out of LSU, Brian Thomas Jr. could be there in that range. I would not mind getting him if the 3 are off the board. Then, of course, I know Dallas is probably going to be gone, so maybe that's the range you also consider Latu. I know he's taken a fall, and you have issues with his injury concerns, which to me is behind him, but it's still there. And then you get that 75 in the second, 45. I mean, in the
second round, you lose your 3rd round pick, though. You do lose your 3rd round pick.
You got to go line. I think if you don't get JPJ at 14, you got to go line somewhere in the second.
I think that's the weird part about how the NFL is set up. Like, we've made moves to kind of like shore up the line a little bit, but we won't know until they actually start working. But they really can't even start working yet. So like you have to kind of like make some of these decisions as to where you go in your draft before you even know, hey, maybe this is a guy, we've seen him work, we've seen how he kind of fits there. I've always found that to be weird with the NFL. So like, because I think you should shore up the line, but it's also like, when's the last time we've had 3 primary targets for a quarterback here?
But I think here's the weird part. A lot of the pushback on the offensive line stuff, I keep seeing this. What do you do when Keenan Allen goes down? It's like, it's not if, it's when.
It's not.
Even though he said he could have played through the injury if the Chargers were at all good last season. Like if they were playing for something, he wouldn't have missed time last year. But because it was over, he was okay with missing the time because I got to get healthy, right? Like, so what happens when Keenan Allen goes down? And my response to that is, again, guys, this is not Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey. This is is Cole Kmet dead? Is Gerald Everett dead? Is DeAndre Swift dead? Is Roshan Johnson dead? Is DJ Moore dead? Is DJ Moore dead? He's your number one there. You got DJ Moore as your number one, and we're sitting there talking about what are you gonna do if we lose our second receiver? It's like there's still options, guys. And by the way, you do have, I know that we've all just given up on these guys, but there is a hope that Tyler Scott develops. There is a hope, my God, that Velus Jones can still turn into say he got to have naked pictures on somebody, bro. I don't care what nobody say.
I think that's confirmed without even confirming it.
Bro. I have no, like, unless Ryan Poles literally was like, give it a couple of years, deal with the backlash. These new kickoff rules are going to turn you into a god.
No duty. And you know the funny thing is, I hate when people take that stance with the Bears because other teams have had to make it with a lot of people going down. You look at the Browns and what they were able to do, backup quarterback and everything like that. It's next man up in this thing. So it's like, yeah, injuries happen. It's a physical game. Deal with it. Like, you know, this is it's all about development, and we have the right culture in like people in the room now to help develop talent. I think we'd be just fine. I don't know why people take these hard stances.
Well, I think the funny part to me is, right, like you look at Keenan Allen over the past few years. I mean, he played, hold on, let me pull this up here.
He hasn't finished the season. He played like
no. Here's the thing: didn't finish didn't finish last season by his own admission because he decided to sit out because everybody was dead, right? Not that he wasn't hurt, but he's like, I could force myself to play through this, but there's no point in making the injury worse when there's nothing to play for.
He wants to heal
Year
up.
before, 2022. Injury, missed 7 games due to injury. They were terrible in that playoff game. Maybe a little bit better with him in there. 2021 played 16 games, 1,100 yards.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, 2020, and now we're getting back into the weeds here. But like 14 games he played in 2019, 16 games. Like this narrative and I don't know if it's a narrative. He was hurt, but like that he's basically dead. Like the 1,200 yard, 7 touchdown receiver is dead in 13 games. By the way, he's the guy that everybody's saying is dead. Like that part I don't understand, and it's one of those things where I think it makes your draft options a little bit more, especially with teams that are trying to move up here because you know that you have some guys in place, and like you said with a Brian Thomas, right? That to me is more of I've got a guy standing in front of you that is already developed. I've got 2 guys in front of you that are already developed. You're the third wide receiver. You get to figure it out. Oh, by the way, you're probably pretty freaking good already. If you traded back to 14 with the Saints, I think there's a lot of value there. Now, you lose that 75th overall pick, but you get a second round pick back in this draft. There's a lot of value to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he was high on my list. 4.3 speed. I mean, you can't teach that.
High on that sleeper list.
6'3". High on that sleeper list. I mean, hey. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the best is yet to come with Brian Thomas, man. He didn't show enough of what he could do. If he goes to the right team and if he comes here, I think behind, you know, mentors like Keenan and DJ who are already established and really at star level in this league, I think he's somebody who can just kind of ease his way into the league and really dominate whoever he's playing. I mean, you're talking about cornerbacks having to put their best on those two. Who's going to stick Brian Thomas, you know, at cornerback 3?
Tough part is Tyler Scott just falling completely out of the rotation there, but hey, it happens, man. What was in the NFL?
He had his chance.
Rookie year, you had your chance. You didn't figure it out. If you had caught that pass from Justin Fields, he'd be here. You had your chance. That's what I heard there.
I'm tough on the bad.
Hey man, let's keep this
out on Minnesota.
What's
Are
that?
we out on him?
Minnesota's in an interesting
Trading?
spot. They technically have 2 picks. They could move up, but like exactly where, and would it be worth for them to move from what are they, the 11th to the 9th?
I don't.
Well, that's why I said 23. I would trade 23 with them. But then I know somebody actually just mentioned King Post said you give up your 3rd round with the 9th and that's 0. Or no, I'm sorry. He said I would be nervous giving a Division 2 top 11 picks. I would probably have to get that.
I gotta get 11 at a minimum. And listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. It may be 11, and to move you into the top 10, we may be having a tough conversation on that one. Like, I don't think that get done, especially because you're a division rival. I'm gonna make it 3 times as hard for you to get this pick because I gotta see whoever you go get twice a year.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, like, and don't let us make the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, like,
they're gonna be in a tough position for the next couple of years, though. I mean, like, they gotta
that's their fault.
Rebuild their line. They gotta pay Justin Jefferson like $30 million a year. He's probably trying to break the bank on that.
Yeah.
Like, they pigeonholed themselves in so many ways. Like, they probably should have kept Kirk, if I'm being honest.
You know why they pigeonholed themselves? Because they kept trying to keep Kirk.
There you go.
They kept kicking this can down the road, and now all of a sudden it's just like, we don't have a quarterback. It was like, no duh. Like, but hey, man, let's keep this thing moving along. Got a lot still to get to on today's show, but first we do have to tell you guys all about Underdog Fantasy. Hold on here. I'm at the crib here. I don't have Joel to run things for me. Give me a second here. Boom. There we go. Got to tell you guys all about Underdog Fantasy. Listen, the easiest way to get in on some of this, listen, hear me out on this. UFL action is out there. I kid. No, we have March Madness. We've got the NBA all underway on Underdog Fantasy. Just pick higher or lower on your favorite or least favorite player stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Although, I guess, if we're being real on this, right? If you wanted to make the UFL interesting, this probably would be the way to do it for you. And I thought there was some fun football out there. Bunch of ways that you can win. Pick'em game is the easiest way. You pick higher or lower on your favorite or least favorite player. Pick between 2 and 5 players. You can also pick from rivals, which puts 2 players against each other. And you can turn on the Pick'em insurance, which gives you a little bit of wiggle room if you're not as confident in an entry. All you have to do is go over to Underdog, who keeps it super simple with their easy-to-use website and mobile apps, and sign up with the promo code TWCB. That is the promo code TWCB. Go over to Underdog right now and get your first deposit doubled up by $500 by Underdog. All right, boys. Let's keep this thing moving right along here, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Bears Junkie in the building. Bears Junkie, what's going on, my boy? You all good, man? Said I'm pulled up a little late. That's what we got the rewind button on this mug for.
I love how she's like just doing tumbling tricks in the back, and this is
it's like making me mad,
man. Moment right here, dog.
Bro, I'm just
I
like,
can see her in the camera. As long as she don't fall off the couch, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, and if she do, I'm just like,
right
that's called life lessons. Yeah, I mean, I'll jump off the screen, and be like, now what did we learn today? Yeah, I mean, like
times when I was a kid.
It is what it is. Kirk Herbstreit talking very positively about what could be coming to the Chicago Bears with Caleb Williams.